Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. We cut through the noise, delivering the most impactful insights from the world's most fascinating sources.
And today, we're tackling something huge, something that, well, affects every single one of us.
Mm-hmm.
How to live longer, sure, but maybe more importantly, how to live better for longer.
Exactly. Think about this image. It's from Dr. Peter Attia, something he dreamt during his surgical residency at Johns Hopkins.
Oh, yeah, the falling eggs.
Right, you're on this gritty street, maybe Baltimore, and eggs are just plummeting, fast, relentlessly.
And you're running, trying to catch them, but you just know you can't get them all. It's that feeling of, helplessness, intervening when it's already kind of too late.
That's the powerful opening to his book, Outlive, The Science and Art of Longevity. And it really sets the stage, doesn't it? It came from his frustration seeing patients decline slowly from cancer, or that tragic story of the young woman dying in the ER from shortness of breath.
Yeah, realizing that our traditional medical system, as amazing as it is in crises, often jumps in only when the eggs are basically hitting the pavement.
And that futility, that's the core challenge we face now. I mean, 100 years ago, people mostly died from fast things, accidents, infections.
Mm-hmm. Quick killers. But today,
Yeah.
it's mostly slow death. These chronic diseases of aging, Attia calls them the four horsemen.
The four horsemen, okay, what are they again?
Heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, and then type 2 diabetes and related metabolic problems, metabolic dysfunction.
Got it. So our mission here in this deep dive is to give you a roadmap straight from Outlive on how to boost not just your lifespan, how many years you live, but your health span.
Which is crucial. Health span is about living well, right? Free from
Ah.
disability, free from disease, for as long as you possibly can. It's not about being like Tithonus from mythology.
Tithonus? Wasn't he the guy who got eternal life but forgot to ask for eternal youth?
Exactly. Lived forever, but just got older and older, weaker and weaker. Suffering. That's what we want to avoid.
Right. So we're going to unpack why our current system, what Attia calls Medicine 2.0, kind of struggles with these chronic diseases.
And then we'll explore Medicine 3.0, this new way of thinking, focused on prevention.
And finally, get into the nitty-gritty, the strategies and tactics to actually tackle those four horsemen.
Let's start with that shift. Medicine 2.0, our standard healthcare system, it's brilliant at acute care, no question.
Like setting a broken bone or fighting off a nasty infection, saving someone in the ICU. Adia mentions that 14-year-old car crash victim.
Yeah, immediate aggressive intervention. Saved his life. The whole mindset is nobody dies on my watch. Stop the immediate threat.
But the problem arises when that same stop the dying now approach gets applied to chronic stuff, right?
Precisely. It's not really designed to prevent the slow burn of heart disease or cancer developing over decades. Or even to catch it super early. We wait until the disease is advanced. The eggs are already falling.
Okay, so enter Medicine 3.0. What's the core idea here?
It's a total philosophy shift. Prevention first. Long-term health. Not just managing symptoms when they pop up.
And it's personalized.
Highly personalized. And evidence-informed, meaning it takes the best science but applies it specifically to you, your biology, your risks, and crucially, you are the navigator.
Navigator, I like that. Not just a passenger waiting for instructions.
Exactly. You're actively steering, confronting potential problems before they become big problems.
So what does this mean for how our lives might play out? He talks about the marginal decade.
Right, versus the ideal trajectory. The marginal decade is, well, it's grim. He tells the story of Sophie. Vibrant woman, loves gardening, golf. Then, early 70s, she has a fall.
Seems minor.
You'd think. But it triggered chronic pain, a really steep physical decline. Her passions, gone. She lived longer, yes, but that last decade or so is just compromised. Suffering, that's the marginal decade, that window of morbidity.
Ugh. Okay, so the ideal trajectory is avoiding that.
It's keeping your health span strong, functioning like someone maybe decades younger, well into your 70s, 80s, even beyond. Maintaining physical sharpness, cognitive sharpness. It's about proactively building resilience, armoring yourself.
Okay, armor yourself. But how?
He stresses strategy before tactics, right?
Absolutely critical. He uses that amazing rumble in the jungle analogy, Ollie versus Foreman.
The rope-a-dope.
Exactly. Ollie won because he had a strategy. He knew Foreman's weaknesses, his own limitations at that age. Without that strategic thinking, you're just chasing fad diets, random workouts. A merry-go-round, basically.
So the first step is adopting this Medicine 3.0 mindset.
Yeah.
Understanding the why before the what.
Yes. And understanding the main ways we decline, Adia points to three big vectors: cognitive decline, physical decline, losing muscle strength, balance, dealing with pain, and importantly, emotional health. They're all linked.
All right, strategy set. Let's dive into the horsemen, starting with the metabolic one. This feels like ground zero for a lot of issues. It really is. And it's deeply personal for Atia. He tells this incredible story after swimming 21 miles to Catalina Island, this huge endurance feat.
Wow.
His wife just looks at him and says, pretty bluntly, "You're less not thin."
Ouch, but honest.
Brutally honest. And it sparked this wake-up call. He realized, despite being super active, he was 50 pounds overweight, insulin resistant, heading straight for type 2 diabetes.
Even after swimming the channel.
Even then. And the kicker, he was a surgeon who had literally amputated the feet of patients suffering from the end stages of that exact disease. People just like him.
That must have been jarring. And this ties into fatty liver disease,
Yeah.
NAFLD.
Yes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. He started seeing these livers in surgery, totally packed with fat, looking like foie gras gone bad, he calls it, even in people who barely drank alcohol.
And that's common now.
Epidemic levels. More than 1 in 4 people worldwide. It's linked to obesity, high cholesterol, but it's often silent. He even found this old case study from a Dr. Zellman, whose patient drank like 12 Cokes a day back in the 50s and developed the same kind of liver damage. Purely from sugar, essentially.
So it's not just about being overweight then. Obesity is more like a symptom.
Exactly. That's a key point. You could be normal weight and metabolically unhealthy, or obese and metabolically healthy, though that's less common. The real issue is the underlying metabolic chaos.
And fructose plays a big role here. There's an evolutionary story.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Our ape ancestors lost an enzyme, uricase. This mutation actually helped them store fat really efficiently from fructose found in scarce fruit. Great for survival back then.
But terrible now with unlimited sodas and juices.
Precisely. That evolutionary advantage is now a huge liability. All those excess calories, especially liquid fructose, overwhelm the system. Fat spills into the liver, muscles, around organs.
Leading to insulin resistance.
And chronic inflammation. Idea really hammers this. We need to treat hyperinsulinemia, chronically high insulin, as a serious problem long before someone gets diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Look, markers like uric acid, triglycerides to HDL ratio, they tell a story.
Okay, metabolic health is huge. What about the next horseman? Cardiovascular disease. Still the #1 killer.
Still #1 globally. And again, Adia has a personal scare here. At just 36, his calcium score measuring plaque in his arteries was 6.
Is that bad?
It gave him the arteries of a 55-year-old. But Medicine 2.0 advice, do nothing, come back in 5 years.
Wow. That really highlights the problem with waiting.
It does. And the simplistic good versus bad cholesterol idea, it's outdated. Adia explains the real villain is the number and duration of exposure to ApoB-containing particles. Think LDL, VLDL. Apolipoprotein B. It's like the delivery truck for cholesterol. Too many trucks driving around for too long, they eventually damage the artery wall, start plaque buildup. It's about particle number, not just total cholesterol.
And then there's LPA. LP(a).
Yeah, that's a nasty one. A specific type of particle that's highly genetically determined and strongly linked to premature heart attacks. He talks about his friend Anna O'Connor, super fit guy, high calcium score at 40. Turns out he had sky-high LPA. So Medicine 3.0's approach is way more aggressive, much more. Proactive, early. The goal is to drive down ApoB particle numbers and LPA if it's hot as low as possible, as early as possible.
How? Lifestyle first.
Definitely lifestyle foundations, but often using medications strategically, even early on. Statins, ezetimibe, maybe PCSK9 inhibitors for high-risk people. There's this Snyderman study showing that intervening earlier dramatically reduces the number of people you need to treat to prevent one event. The compounding effect over decades is massive.
Okay, heart disease covered. Let's pivot to cancer, the third horseman. How does Atia frame this fight?
He starts with this almost unbelievable story of William D'Angelo, metastatic stomach cancer, and it just vanished. Spontaneous remission, no treatment.
Seriously?
It's a mystery. But it inspired Dr. Steve Rosenberg, a pioneer in immunotherapy. His life's work became figuring out how to get the immune system to recognize and kill cancer cells, distinguishing bad self from good self.
So, leveraging our own bodies. What about cancer's weaknesses?
Adia goes back to Otto Warburg's discovery in the 1920s. Cancer cells are absolute sugar fiends. They devour glucose way faster than healthy cells, the Warburg effect.
And insulin plays a role?
Big time. Insulin basically helps fuel cancer growth by activating a pathway called PI3K, which tells cells to suck up even more glucose. Insulin is like an enabler for many cancers.
So if insulin fuels it, does restricting fuel help, like fasting?
That's where Dr. Walter Longo's research comes in. Fasting, or fasting-mimicking diets, seem to put normal cells into a protective mode, making them more resilient to chemo, while simultaneously making cancer cells more vulnerable.
Wow, that flew the old advice, right? Used to be eat anything to keep your calories up.
Exactly. He shares this amazing story of a patient, Sandra, in a breast cancer trial. She adopted a strict fasting-mimicking diet and drastically outlived expectations, outlived hundreds of others in the trial.
Incredible. But fasting isn't the main strategy, is it?
No, the most powerful weapon against cancer mortality, Adia argues, is early detection. Stage I cancers are just vastly more treatable, fewer cells, fewer mutations.
So better screening, going beyond the standard guidelines.
Yes, he advocates for earlier colonoscopies, maybe by 40, considering advanced imaging like whole-body MRI cautiously, and exploring liquid biopsies, blood tests, looking for circulating tumor DNA. They're not perfect, but they offer potential for much earlier diagnosis.
Makes sense. Catch it before it spreads. Okay, the final horseman. Neurodegenerative disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, maybe the most feared.
For many people, yes. He opens with Stephanie, terrified after learning she has the APOE4 gene, a major risk factor for Alzheimer's.
And connects it to Dr. Richard Isaacson.
Yeah, Isaacson started the first Alzheimer's prevention clinic because he watched his great-uncle Bob just disappear into the disease. It fueled his mission.
We hear a lot about amyloid plaques.
That's been the dominant theory, yes. But Adia explores others too, like Dr. Jack de la Torre's idea that Alzheimer's is fundamentally a vascular problem, reduced blood flow starving brain cells of energy.
Like an energy crisis in the brain.
Exactly. And there's a huge link to metabolic health too. Insulin resistance in the brain, sometimes called type 3 diabetes. The hippocampus, key for memory, is packed with insulin receptors. If they're not working well, big problems.
So what's the #1 thing we can do to protect our brains?
Exercise, hands down. IDEA calls it the most powerful intervention. It works through those vascular and metabolic pathways we just talked about.
Even simple things, like grip strength.
Yep, studies show stronger grip correlates with lower dementia risk. It's a proxy for overall physical health. And other surprising links pop up too, like oral health. Gum disease bacteria found in Alzheimer's brains. It highlights systemic inflammation.
Wow, so floss your teeth for your brain health.
Basically, yeah, it's all connected.
Okay, we've met the enemies. Now for the battle plan. Adia lays out 4 core tactics, right? Areas often missed by Medicine 2.0.
That's right. Exercise, nutrition, sleep, and emotional health. These are the pillars of the Medicine 3.0 playbook. He uses this great analogy.
The green light one.
Yeah. This truck driver, he knew, even with a green light, always look left, then right before going. A small, deliberate habit that massively reduces catastrophic risk.
So these tactics are like those small, deliberate checks, compounding benefits over time.
Exactly. It's about giving you the tools to build your own playbook for risk reduction.
Let's start with exercise. He calls it the most potent longevity drug, more powerful than anything else.
By far. The data is overwhelming, and the classic question is cardio or weights?
And the answer is?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Both are crucial. For cardio, a key metric is VO2 max.
Right, your aerobic engine's capacity.
Exactly. And high VO2 max is incredibly protective. That big 2018 study, it showed higher fitness was linked to lower death rates across the board, even more strongly than not smoking.
That's insane. So what should we aim for?
Aim for the elite category for your age and sex. Or even better, aim for the elite category for someone 2 decades younger. That's the kind of buffer you want.
Ambitious.
Yeah.
And strength. Muscle mass.
Equally critical. Muscle mass plummets after 65, and it's directly tied to mortality, falls, frailty. But the good news is you can build strength at any age.
Like my mom starting weights at 67, it made such a difference.
Exactly, which leads to his concept of the centenarian decathlon.
Okay, explain that.
It's a list you create for yourself.
Yeah.
10, maybe 15 physical tasks you want to be able to do in your 80s or 90s. Like carry 2 bags of groceries upstairs, get up off the floor using only one hand, play with grandkids, maybe hike or ruck with a pack.
So you train for those specific future goals now, armoring yourself.
Precisely. And the foundation for that aerobic fitness is Zone 2 training.
Based on Inigo San Millan's work.
Yes. It's steady state, moderate cardio. You can hold a conversation, but you wouldn't really want to. At talk test, aim for maybe 3 hours a week. It builds mitochondrial efficiency, your metabolic base.
And stability. That sounds important, but maybe less obvious.
Super important. It's your body's subconscious ability to control force, to decelerate, stabilize, prevent injury. Think of a race car versus a street car on a sharp turn.
The race car stays planted.
Right. It has stability. Adia worked with Beth Lewis on retraining his movement patterns using DNS dynamic neuromuscular stabilization, focusing on basics, proper breathing, grounding through the feet, even hand in grip strength. It's foundational for moving well, lifelong.
Okay, exercise covered. Let's tackle nutrition. Always a confusing topic.
Definitely a minefield. Adia's own journey is telling here. He was super strict keto for years, fixed his own metabolic issues, but he's evolved.
Be more flexible.
Yeah, realizing there's no one perfect diet. What works wonders for one person might not for another.
And nutrition research itself is tricky, isn't it?
Very tricky. A lot is epidemiology based on food questionnaires. People are terrible at remembering what they ate. And there's healthy user bias, like the old idea that moderate drinking was good for you.
Yeah, that seemed too good to be true.
Turns out, using better methods like Mendelian randomization, there's likely no healthy amount of alcohol. The apparent benefit was probably just healthier people happening to drink moderately.
Okay, so for the majority who are overnourished, what's the strategy?
He boils it down to 3 ways to manage calories: deliberate tracking, restricting specific food types like sugar or processed carbs, or time-restricted eating. Choose what works for you.
And macronutrients, what's the focus?
Protein is number 1, especially as we age, to fight muscle loss. Aim for around 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight, or 2.2 grams per kilo. Spread it out. And generally, animal protein is more bioavailable than plant protein.
What about fats?
Prioritize monounsaturated fats, olive oil, avocados. Saturated fat, it depends. Some people, like Atia, handle it fine. Others see their ApoB spike. It's individual.
And carbs, not the enemy.
Not inherently. It's about the dose, the type, and your individual tolerance. This is where continuous glucose monitors, CGMs, can be amazing tools.
To see in real time how foods affect your blood sugar.
Exactly. And not just food, exercise, sleep, stress too. It provides incredible personalized feedback. Alcohol, best avoided for longevity. Empty calories, messes with fat burning, leads to bad food choices.
What about time-restricted eating, like 168?
It's popular and can be a useful tool for some if it helps them reduce overall calories, but human studies suggest it doesn't have magic benefits beyond that calorie reduction, unlike in mice. And you have to be careful not to shortchange your protein intake or you risk muscle loss.
Got it. Next pillar, sleep, the wonder drug.
Absolutely. Adia talks about the terrible sleep culture in medicine during his residency. Pulling all-nighters was a badge of honor. He was so sleep-deprived he literally face-planted once.
Yikes.
And his blood work looked like an old man's. Then his friend Kirk Parsley, the former SEAL doc, asked him that filler question. If sleep's not important, why didn't evolution get rid of it?
Good point. And the impact is huge, right?
Profound. Affects insulin sensitivity, cravings, risk of fatty liver, heart attack risk, cognitive function, memory consolidation, even Alzheimer's prevention. Your brain cleans itself during deep sleep via the glymphatic system.
So sleeping pills don't count, like Ambien.
Nope. They induce sedation, unconsciousness maybe, but not the quality REM and deep sleep your brain and body need for restoration and repair. Big difference.
Okay, so how do we get that quality sleep? Hygiene tips.
Yeah, the basics matter.
Yeah.
Dark, quiet, cool room, mid-60s Fahrenheit is often ideal. Minimize blue light exposure before bed. Avoid late-night intense work or exercise. Watch the alcohol. It might make you drowsy initially, but it fragments sleep later. Be smart about caffeine. Know its half-life.
And building sleep pressure.
That's key. Get enough exercise, especially zone 2. Get natural sunlight exposure, particularly in the morning. Maybe even go to bed slightly hungry, not stuffed. And if you really struggle, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI, is incredibly effective. It retrains your brain and behaviors around sleep.
All right, the final pillar, and maybe the most profound, emotional health.
This is where the book gets incredibly personal and vulnerable. Adia shares his own journey, really triggered by his son Ayrton's sudden cardiac arrest.
Oh my.
His reaction when his wife called. Cold, detached. Okay, call me when you get to the hospital. He didn't go home for 10 days. It exposed this deep emotional dysfunction, anger, negative self-narrative.
That led him to seek help.
Yes, eventually landing him at the bridge to recovery in Kentucky. It was a total turning point. He realized all the focus on physical longevity was basically meaningless if his internal life, his relationships, if everything sucked.
It's the why, isn't it? Why bother living longer if life is miserable?
Exactly. And he connects this to the rise in deaths of despair,
Hmm.
overdoses, suicides, alcohol-related deaths. Emotional health isn't separate from physical health. It's fundamental. He talks about trauma, too, not just big T trauma, but little T moments of helplessness that shape us.
And how family patterns repeat.
Yeah, family pathology rolls from generation to generation until one person has the courage to turn and face the flames. Medicine 2.0 often completely misses this.
So what tools did he learn? He mentions DBT.
Dialectical behavior therapy.
Mm.
Practical skills like understanding your distress tolerance window, how much emotional discomfort you can handle, things like good sleep, exercise, connection, widen it,
Yeah.
stress, overcommitment, shrink it.
Mindfulness too.
Huge, creating that tiny space between a trigger and your reaction, learning to detach from thoughts, and reframing that harsh inner critic, that inner Bobby Knight. Ask yourself, would you talk to a friend that way?
Probably not.
Right. And this powerful idea. You can change your behavior first to change your mood instead of waiting to feel like doing something.
Hmm.
Action precedes feeling. And non-negotiable, therapy. Regular therapy as a core tactic.
And it all starts with believing change is possible.
That's the bedrock. He had to let go of the belief that he was fundamentally flawed, a monster, before he could even start doing the work. Just entertaining the possibility of change opened the door.
So bringing this all together, this deep dive really shows that true longevity, true health span, it's not just one thing.
Not at all. It's totally integrated. Yes, you need the tactics, exercise, nutrition, sleep to fight the horsemen, but it's all anchored in your mental and emotional state.
Without that foundation, the rest might not matter as much, or you might not even stick with it.
Exactly. The ultimate why has to be there. Why do you want to live longer? For what? For whom? For Attia, it shifted from a fear of dying to something positive, meaningful relationships, purpose, peace. That made the hard work welcome, necessary.
It really makes you think, what is your why? And Attia leaves us with this final, really thought-provoking idea.
Oh yeah, the unbecoming part.
The journey isn't so much about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so you can be who you were meant to be in the first place.
Powerful stuff. What parts of yourself, what narratives might you need to shed to live that longer, better, more authentic life?
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.